listening to Nic'ed.
What in cousin fucking tarnation, Alabama Betty Crocker, Miss fucking Betty White shit is this? Holy shit.
On SkullFace Records Radio.
Today's going to be a fun day, man. It's going to be a high-energy episode. It's going to be a lot of SkullFace Records in your face songs mixed with, today we're going to be a little different. Today we're going to go look outside of SkullFace Records. We're going to bring out some hits we like from all around the world, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Extending the olive branch.
We're going to extend the olive branch, man, and not show it's going to show, who we really are. And if there's other companies out there that's doing the same thing we are, like-minded, trying to survive and doing it themselves, man, we'd be fools to not help them out.
Right.
This first one we're doing today, me and a guy from Cynthiana, Kentucky, his named Evan Smith. You might have heard him drum. He's for the Backup Beat Downs.
Yeah.
We've played several of their songs on the rotation.
Yeah.
The audience has heard several of their songs. We about 2 years ago we got together and we isolated ourselves up for about 4 days, way before it was cool. We quarantined way before it was the cool thing to do. No mask needed. We didn't have the scare then, but we elected to stay. He stayed at my house. We stayed in our music room for about 4 days. We came up with about 12, 13 songs. We put an album together that we titled The Backup Beat Downs. One of these songs is the one we're getting ready to play. It's called Matta. That's not even a word. If you listen to it, it's very ebonics. It sounds like I'm just making up my own stuff. Matta. It's spelled M-A-T-T-A. I didn't want to say matter for some reason, and I made up Matta, and it fit the purpose too. I felt like, because it was a song written due to a lot of times I'm that shoulder to talk to lean on.
Yeah.
People come to me for advice and stuff with a lot of things, but sometimes I need that advice, and sometimes I'll need to reach out. So I reached out to one of my friends one time, man, when I was in a bad shape one night. I might have drank too much or some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I was just feeling a little ook. So I gave him a call, man, and it didn't seem like he really gave a fuck. It didn't seem like it mattered. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know at first, but I wrote a bunch of songs, and then looking back on these lyrics, it made me realize what I really wrote that about. And I think I wrote that about that dude not giving a shit when I was trying to reach out.
Yeah.
This is by the Backup Beat Downs. It's called Matta.
Walk the block, around the clock, world's in shock. Then we fought back, made a pack solid. Fuck what they call us, flawless, semi-sonic. How ironic, make you sick. Try to stop us, that's your risk. You want war, I insist. I know much more, you're a when I needed you today. I'm guessing it didn't even matter. Break my face and break your knuckles. Fall from grace and make me suffer just a taste. All your troubles wanna waste. Oh, so supple, all your fate left in a bottle, can't erase. The good fumble, don't eat the cake when it's all crumble. Seriously, can I be any more subtle? Want to control us, you are soulless. So what's symphonies to console us? The sinking, scratch the joint. Match up, you're no match, we've already won. When I needed you today. I'm guessing it didn't even matter. Walk the block, round the clock, world's in shock. That we fought back, made a pack solid. Fuck what they call us, flawless, semi-sonic. How ironic, makes you sick. Tried to stop us, that's your risk. You want war, I insist. I know much more, you're a bitch. When I needed you today. I'm guessing it didn't even matter. Break my face, break your knuckles, fall from grace. Make she suffer just a taste. For all the trouble, what a waste. Oh, so supple, all your faith left in a puddle, can't erase. The good fumble, don't eat the cake if it's all crumble. Seriously, can I be any more subtle? When I needed you today. I'm guessing
The next one's going to be one of our favorite bands, Slim. It's our Cincinnati area boys. They're going to be down here Friday with a live interview in studio. I'm talking about Shocker.
Yes.
Man, what about their podcast, too? Toxic Taste.
Toxic Taste.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's going to be an acquired taste.
Yeah, it's going to be them horror movies, them old school, them B films, them films that some people think's icky, but some people think's gold.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, when they get here Friday, are we drinking till the break of dawn?
We're going to put that to the test.
We have to take their keys when they get here, though, because DUIs are such a bitch.
That is right, man. And you know it. You guys have all heard that lyric yourself if you've tuned in to SkullFace Records Radio. And this next one's by our friends up in Cincinnati. It's by the band Shocker.
This song is called Ride to Rock. Crank it up, motherfuckers. This is SkullFace Records Radio.
Since I broke on the scene, I was born to scream. Can't ever get my way. Yeah, I was born
We're starting a new thing around here, Slim. We're trying to celebrate the birth of the people that tune in and listen every day and call in. Birthday shout-outs.
I like it.
This one's going to be an actual special one, man. This is for the brother of one of the Hashing Out guys, Jerry Hash.
Oh.
You guys have might heard that name before. He's a hilarious man, one of my good friends.
I'm Jerry Hash.
Hello, I'm Jerry Hash.
I'm Jerry Hash.
And this, I might just shit and piss everywhere. Caleb said he's hilarious. Man, we're so excited about having them on the team, man, and having their podcast on.
Yeah.
But this birthday shout-out's for his brother, Ricky Hash.
Yes.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Man, we appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate everyone that's tuned in.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back with SkullFace Records Radio.
And hey, if you've got a birthday or you want us to shout somebody out on the air,
Absolutely.
it'll be their birthday every day until we update things. So if you want us to shout somebody out on the air, or if you want to do like a request and dedication
Call
type
on
thing,
859-588-6456.
there you go. Or just message Nick Himes on Facebook.
Absolutely.
NIC. Leave
NIC.
off the K.
You know what I'm saying? Or you guys can also, if you guys have any requests or questions or anything, you can hit us up at nickhimes@gmail.com, NICHIMES@gmail.com. You can hit us up at our address.
SkullFaceRadio@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/SkullFace Records Radio.
And absolutely, if you just want to call it in, it's 859-588-6456.
Hey, y'all, this is Aaron from Ashes of Atlanta, and I have some huge news. I'll be reading the book Well of Rage, chapter by chapter, and together we will find out what lies beneath the Well of Rage.
Exclusively here on SkullFace Records Radio.
Need some t-shirts? Want some merch for your band? Stickers? Whatever you need, let Special Tees hook you up. T-shirts, card decals, and more. Fast, friendly service with a smile. It's just under their mask. Special Tees is now the exclusive provider for SkullFace Records Radio t-shirts. Call Brittany DeBest at 859-588-2165. 859-588-2165. Shipping is available for an extra cost. Special Tees of Cynthiana.
Some creepy guy is stalking you in the parking garage at 3 a.m., but you're not worried because you have a Bright for War Industries knife strapped to your belt. Don't be a victim in this crazy world. Protect yourself. Carry a knife made by Bright for War Industries. It may save your life. Hi, this is Josh for Bright for War Industries. I'm a professional knife maker with 15 years experience. If you're looking for a unique gift or a high-performance piece of cutlery for the kitchen, the field, or for personal protection, look no further. Look for me on Instagram at Bright for War.
Would you like to donate money to our cause?
Shit ain't free, man.
This stuff takes money.
Every little bit helps.
We can do a commercial for your business.
You can make you money, and then we can make money.
Want to sponsor a segment or one of our shows?
Want to get famous, man?
Want to sponsor a show?
Multiple mentions, all kinds of publicity.
Email us, skullfaceradio@gmail.com.
Don't forget the social medias.
Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/SkullFace Records Radio.
Listen to SkullFace Records Radio.
This next one is a badass song, dude. The lead guitar player is T.T. Ratliff. He was in bands back in the 90s, the Hellbilly Stomp Tribe. They were one of the most funkiest metal bands. If you could mix those two genres together, that was the Hellbilly Stomp Tribe.
Metal and country, or
No,
what?
metal and like funk. Metal and like a groove.
Would you call it like Funkle?
Funk-oval metal. You know what I'm saying? It's something, dude. It was good, though. They had a great sound. He showed his head up again in it was 2012-ish when he started playing with some guys that formed Negative 77. And then about 2 years after getting the dust off, I suppose, he starred in this album, which is Swamped and Ashy. This song's called Haunted Me.
Don't forget to sit back, enjoy the breeze. Be good to others and live as you please. Don't forget to sit back, enjoy the breeze. Be good to others and live as you please. Honestly, honesty as always. Haunted me, 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 honestly, honesty as always. Haunted me.
This next guy has blown my mind over the last 3 or 4 days. My boy Slim was telling me about this guy, Zach, that was up towards where he was working at a bar not too long ago.
In West by God, Virginia.
There you go, man. And he was telling me about this fella, and finally we got a couple of songs sent in, and then the very first one he brought out blew my mind, man. Tell us a little bit more about Zach, Slim.
Zach is cool people, man. I met him. He came to the bar that I was playing at, and there you go.
One open.
Anyway, he came to the bar where I was playing at and sat in for some open mic nights.
Oh, cool.
When he sat in and sat down, man, Zach reminds me a lot of Tyler Childers.
Oh, wow.
Because he's got that soft, smooth voice, but he's also got these songs that are just super stupid deep, and like nobody's paying attention to him.
He's so soft-spoken.
Yeah, because he's so soft-spoken.
They're not looking into it.
Exactly.
Guess what, Zach? Here at SkullFace Records Radio, the listeners look into it.
Absolutely.
These are the listeners that want to hear the diversity, that want to hear the deepness.
We want to pluck the brain strings of everybody.
Absolutely. This song is by Zachary Savine. It is titled Prayer for My Children. Turn it up, SkullFace Records Radio.
Well, oh Lord, can you hear me? Please listen to my prayers. I need my children here with me. Save me from this nightmare. Well, I know that I'm a sinner, but this is all too much to bear. Well, I've been knocked down on my knees, Lord, so please hear this sinner's prayer. Well, please be with my children. Well, give them peace of mind. Well, please bring them home safely. This just isn't right. As soon as you can, Lord, I need them here by my side. Will move us out of this darkness and into the light. Well, I know I don't deserve, Lord, to ask you for a thing, but I have nowhere to turn, Lord. My children are my everything. Well, oh God, if you're listening, well, please show me a sign. And won't you love and protect them, and help me get some sleep tonight. Well, please be with my children and give them peace of mind. Please bring them home safely. This just isn't right. As soon as you can, Lord, I need them here by my side. Move us out of this darkness and into the light. Well, please love and protect them. We'll place them back in my care. Well, God, man's laws are wicked, so help me win this fight. And Lord, if you hear me, answer this sinner's prayer. Well, please, Lord, if you can hear me, just answer this sinner's prayer.
We're coming back with the branch extended across the river of opportunity.
Just don't offer me any olives, because I fucking hate olives.
I want double black olives with my Subway, please, man. Ugh. I like it all, though.
How do you eat that stuff, man? It tastes like a foot.
One olive at a time, my buddy. Man, I love it. I'll eat anything. Man, like I've said this before, man, I'd probably eat human nuts if it's marinated and cooked right. Don't really matter to me, man.
I'd probably try it if you put some ranch on it.
Right. Ranch makes everything that much better. refrigerator. Or put it on a pizza, put it pizza style.
There you go.
Shit, all day, every day. These guys are actually they're from Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore. What's in Baltimore?
I believe baseball.
Baseball?
Cal Ripken.
Okay, Cal Ripken. Okay, yeah, he was on the Orioles.
I have some family-in-law from up that way. It's a crab country, too. They're supposed to have the best crab cakes out of anywhere.
So they got crabs.
They do got crabs. And they're proud of it, I believe. I believe they have bumper stickers and everything for their crabs. It's very well promoted. Them and baseball, I believe, is what's kicking ass. If I'm missing anything, you guys can call in and let us know.
There's this band.
This band is a solid punk band, an intense sound. Reminds me of a strong-willed metal/punk band from the late 90s. This is Trigger 13. They're out of Baltimore, Maryland through on Snot Merchant Records.
Off their debut album Trigger 13. This is Deadly Romantic on SkullFace Records Radio.
How many nights must I lie awake as all of my loved ones fade away and die? But I know the devil in me makes mistakes. I keep pushing them away as I run and hide. Until I see you walking in, I feel the heart it beats again. You bring me back into my life. But the secret that I hold is something you can't let go until I make your blood come mine. It's all because I said it, son. Yeah, grown until the nightmare is done. As the teeth enter your veins, it takes my pain away. Our souls they become one. There was a time in this darkness when I was so lonely, but now it's gone because your life has made me whole. Look at the monster that I made. You're my one and only. I must confess to stop the fire in my soul. Now I walk these streets alone with everyone I've ever known. Has complicated time to touch, but I came to realize this love will never die. No, not with our passion and our lust. Then you murder me with those eyes. Every move just mesmerized me. My chest all crumbled to the ground. To the killing our love grows. So much I had to let you go. But with this kiss our dark hearts will be bound. It's all because I said it, son. Yeah, grown until the nightmare is done. As the teeth enter your veins, it takes my pain away. Our souls they become one. There was a time in this darkness when I was so lonely, but now it's gone because your life has made me whole. Look at the monster that I made. You're my one and only. I must confess to stop the fire in my soul. How many nights must I lie awake as all of my loved ones fade away and die? But I know the devil in me makes mistakes. I keep pushing them away as I run and hide. It's all because I said it, son. Yeah, grown until the nightmare is done. As the teeth enter your veins, it takes my pain away. Our souls they become one. There was a time
happiness when I was so lonely. But now it's gone because your life has made me whole. Look at the monster that I made. You're my one and only. I must confess to stop this fire in my soul.
Everybody's sweating a little bit, feeling better after that punk rock down your throat.
I love punk rock, man. It makes me want to tear shit up.
We're going to keep the theme, but we're switching it up just a bit.
Okay.
First off, the olive branch is still across the sea, but this time it's across the ocean.
Okay.
We're going to Italy.
Oh, Italy.
We're going to Italy.
What's the name of that town?
What's the name of the town in Italy? Thanks for asking. It's
Rossignano Salve.
Italy. And we're lucky enough to get a submission from an awesome band called the Beaters Band. They have a really unique 50s, 60s rock vibe mixed with some kind of, new age punk. It's a pretty nice sound. This is called the Beaters Band, and the song is titled The Girl of My Best Friends. Only here on SkullFace Records Radio.
Fire, 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 fire.
And then he said,
Speaking of which, I saw a news story. They are revamping Beavis and Butthead.
The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
The boys.
I have a special deal for you or something. It's in my pants.
You sicko.
Damn it, Butthead. God damn it, boys, get off my property.
You boys quit whacking off in my camper.
I wonder if the gym teacher's still alive or if he's already stroked out, because I know Beavis and Butthead was giving him fucking hell when I remember watching it.
It's okay, Beavis. Damn it! It's all right to cry. Crying takes the fat out of you.
And what about the Winger kid? Is he now like the mayor of the city, or is he finally listening to good music and not listening to Winger anymore? What was his name? Stuart, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Man, Beavis and Butthead was good times.
I am Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole. Are you threatening me? You do not want to face the wrath of my bunghole.
Oh Oh man, I love Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, if they're one of the few. They were cartoon DJs. We're gonna bring this show back across seas, man, from Italy and going back into Kentucky. These guys submitted this song for the new comp being released, the Kentucky's Underground Volume 5, which is going to be actually released towards the end of July. I'm thinking maybe the last week of July we're going to see the 5th volume of the Kentucky's Underground.
Awesome.
And these guys are going to be on it. They're called the Diamond Phillips Band, and this song is called Colors.
She cries the color red, you don't see anything. Orange is the only light, but you don't know what it is. She paints the autumn sky in a violet purple sheen. She tries to understand, but she don't know what it is. But she don't know what it is. She lets the colors fill her mind. She tries to take a step back to that perfect place in time. She wants to see how it could be. She paints a picture of the world for you and me. Yeah, the world for you and me. Brush strokes the canvas light and moving in. She dances through the night, feeling wild and free. Fame with wild delight and some crazy color scheme. She tries to understand, but she don't know what it is. No, she don't know what it is. Let's the colors fill her mind. She tries to take a step back to that perfect place in time. She wants to see how it could be. She paints a picture of the world for you and me. Yeah, the world for you and me. It may sound crazy, but it's true. She's painting a picture, yeah, she's painting for me and you. I hope someday that you will see the way the colors play into reality. Into reality. It's all for you and me. It's raining outside my window. It's raining inside my heart. It's raining inside my soul.
this next song, it's from, we'll keep the theme with the 90s, I suppose. We've been kind of doing that all the way around. This is an old school punk band that kind of sounds like they got the 90s style, man. It's a band that was formed out of Lexington, Kentucky. It's called Negative 77, and this is called Pour on the Abuse.
Back and watch them throw it as their arms will turn. Intrude and out this road in the complication. Fatigue will be her mind as your hands are weaker. I win, you lose, they get rough, you on the abuse. You pour on the abuse. You pour on the abuse. I meet these women while I roam and they never let me down. The way she lets him pounce and then cries and looks around. I'm sneaking from the back door. I got up in a noose. You turn your back on that one. Turns his back on you. I'm sneaking from the back door. Got up in a noose. You turn your back on that one. Turns his back on you. Singing my motivations, weeping under the rug. Never get much for explaining, show me how it looks. It's not an option to restrain him, it's a test they get from you. And that's your at your weakest for all the abuse. The abuse. The pour on the abuse. The pour on the abuse. You pour on the abuse.
We're gonna change up the style though this time, Slim.
We're changing up.
Yeah, this is for the people that might want to be taking that lunch break and having that baby making music time. You know,
I'm glad we're changing because my butt crack's getting a little squishy.
There you go, and that right there is what's going to make the ladies out there moist, just some moist. And if you're out there in SkullFace Records Radio land and your lady's moist and you need to hit that, you know, that all the way the basement to keep the lady, this is the song to do it to. This is actually Nic'ed, and this is called New Habits.
SkullFace Records Radio motherfuckers.
SkullFace Records. Your mental disability, stuck in misery, so a sight to see, making your punk ass believe. When I roll up my sleeve, yeah, everyone leaves, then the smoke recedes, and only in dreams you'll see the talents that I've achieved. New habits, can't fathom what's happened. You turn rapid, so rapid, not even a straight jacket can't save you from the madness. You had it, you fucking faggot. Your status is that of a casket. Probably should've used new habits. You gotta grab them. Stop being passive and let it never happen. Never slacking. You need a slap in the beat. You're making stabs at me. You're making stabs at me. Make peace with your past and outlast the negative bullshit. Give it a little time and it heals most emotions. Except myself, it's my move on. Got a few things, a few folks I'm believing in. Starting with myself. Shell of hell to break free from forever the spell. I will not run. I become one with my vision. My mission is vicious and I commission my own ambitions. Your opinions are auditions. I'm like the ignition for my musicians. Yeah, I create you just as stronger than religions, not fashion. Bitch, it's passion. And I'll attack like in Iraq with a backpack on my rival. I become fragile, homicide on the hope for my rival survival. Now this isn't a battle. You just made me babble. I shackle my words. Yeah, you live and you learn from new habits. You gotta grab them. Stop being passive and let the inevitable happen. Never slacking. You need a slap in the beat. Making stabs at me with zero credibility. New habits. You gotta grab them. Stop being passive and let the inevitable happen. Never slacking. You need a slap in the beat. You're making stabs at me with zero credibility. New habits. You gotta grab them. Stop being passive and let the inevitable happen. Never slacking. You need a slap in the beat. Making stabs at me with zero credibility. New habits. You gotta grab them. Stop being passive and let the inevitable happen. Never slacking. You need a slap in the beat. Making stabs at me. You're making stabs at me. You're making stabs at me. You're making stabs at me. Goddamn thing. Making stabs at me. Fucking mouth shut.
We were talking about ladies before we heard that awesome Nick Nasty song.
The women.
Yeah. I'm single and I put out on the first date. I just wanted to throw that out there.
If you want to get laid, live on SkullFace Records Radio,
wouldn't that be some shit?
I think we would actually have to. We need some kind of license for that, I suppose. I don't know if we could just do that without some kind of consequences.
Why couldn't we?
I mean, we might have to move our location because of the way the women would come like zombies wanting meat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They'd come and they just want to eat you up, Slim.
Right.
You better quit tempting the women like that now.
I'm telling you. But, yeah.
You're going to have them tearing it down.
I'll still say it again. I'm single and I put out on the first date.
Single and ready to mingle. And he's single, but I'm ready for a Pringle. And I'm ready for the next song, man. These guys are coming out of Denver, Colorado. Oh, shit.
There's Pepsi, legal weed.
Skin.
And
this one time when I went there on a bus, which I'm fixing to tell you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, man. I got fired from a job in Florida.
Dicks.
They shipped me basically like poultry up to Denver, Colorado to work for someone else. It was like a 40-hour bus ride. By the time I got there, I was about out of money, and I showed up 40 hours later in Denver, Colorado, just as their bus station closed. I'm calling the people that are supposed to be there to pick me up because they're not there and they're not answering. So now I'm finding myself after a 40-hour bus ride sitting on the side of the bus station looking like a homeless guy with all my luggage, just sitting there kind of just wasting my time, I suppose. Clubs started letting out. I've been sitting there now like 2 or 3 hours. People are walking by where there's like a mangled one of the mangled wolves of a pack or something at the end of it is like just basically passed out and fell not 10 feet away from me. His friends has walked away. There's no one there. It's the darkness of Denver, Colorado downtown, and there's a man laying in front of me. So don't judge me for what I'm about to tell you I did. It was 15 years ago, and a motherfucker gotta do what he gotta do. So I fucking reached in his pocket and I grabbed his wallet. I didn't take his credit cards or his ID, but I took his $77 because it was $77.
Hell no.
And I fucking grabbed it, put his wallet back in, grabbed my luggage, went like a block down the way. Fucking as soon as I hit a block down the way, man, a car pulls up, opens its trunk, and it's those fucking big ass homemade burritos or churros and all that, man. They were the size of your head. So I spent like $20 on that shit. It was I was so hungry. I was starving from the bus ride and shit. I caught a cab, I left, and I asked God for forgiveness afterwards because thou shalt not steal, I suppose, but it fucking saved my life that night, bro. But that was my welcome to Denver, you know what I'm saying? All the other things. And the thing, it wasn't that blistering cold either, like they said. When I was there, it was pretty decent. It was like a 50, 60 degrees, man, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
I've been to Denver once, and when I got there, I was disappointed that the mountains weren't blue. I was even more disappointed to find out that they have 2 seasons, which is winter and construction.
Isn't that the truth, man? If you're not on a mountain, you're like avoiding something or you're waiting in line.
Right.
That's crazy. Well, these guys, man, they're from Denver, Colorado. They're called the Unaccepted.
They called the Unaccepted because they're cold?
Possibly.
unaccepted. We're the 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 unaccepted.
Night now. We've already made it.
And now the end is here. And so we face the final curtain.
Yeah, man, it's been a good show. It's been a fast show, man.
Yeah.
It goes by fast when you're having fun. What
Time
can I
flies
say?
when you're having fun.
I appreciate all the viewers here at SkullFace Records Radio.
Listeners.
Yeah, man, we can't do it without the listeners. Like we said before, if you have any questions, inquiries about any of the bands or the activities going on here, if you like your commercial, your band featured on the station, hit us up at
SkullFace Radio at gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/SkullFace Records Radio.
Or call us live at 859-588-6456.
We can help your business get on the air. We charge an affordable rate. It's stupid cheap to get your commercial on the air. Now, the month just started, Nick, so we can get commercials on the air and run for the whole month.
The funny thing is, it's only the first, but I feel like it's been the first forever because I think we were up last night as soon as it clicked to the first.
Yes.
So we were talking about it being the first last night.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes.
But it's the first today.
And it'll probably be the first tomorrow because none of us have been out of the house in 4 months.
That will be fucked up. That's when we start writing the movie on it. That's quizzy questions or anything that you want to ask any of the people here at SkullFace Records Radio. Just call in 859-588-6456.
And we can do a commercial for your business and have it turned around for you quick. Just contact us at one of those places, or you can hit Nick Himes or me, Dennis Thevenin, up on Facebook, and we'll be more than happy to get you taken care of. By the way, if you're looking for me on Facebook, if you type in DJ Slim, it should just come right up. I'm like the only DJ Slim with a weird ass
And you can find me at Nick Himes, NICHIMES.
That's right. And there's no K on Nick, so don't get it twisted.
Keep the K out, bitches. Man, this is the last song of the night. We're ending on a diverse note, which I love.
Diversity is a thirst to me.
Absolutely, man. That's going to be my tattoo across my shoulders one day. These guys really take that to the next level, I believe. They do like an experimental, it's almost like a techno beat, sort of, a little darker, I believe, kind of like an early 9 Inch Nails, possibly.
Yeah.
The lyric content's really deep. We've had a couple call-ins asking for the actual lyric content to it because they want to see, figure out exactly what they're saying. It intrigued them. That's the kind of stuff we like by our artists here.
Absolutely.
This artist is called Techno Hecno. This song is In Front of My Face, exclusively here at SkullFace Records Radio.
SkullFace Records.
Broadcasting live from the SkullFace Records radio studio, located at 102 Meadow Lane in Cynthiana, Kentucky.
Ever and always we shall be
SkullFace Records Radio.
Live out your dream to be a superstar under the lights. Always the best crowd and crew in Lexington. Survivors Karaoke Bar, 161 East Reynolds Road.
Remember to tip your bartenders. You'll find Mama Nancy, Will, and the captain behind the bar, always serving up the best drinks. We got Brian, Bobby G, and DJ Hi-Fi in the booth, just ripping it in karaoke. Survivors. The best in karaoke in Lexington. Karaoke starts at 9 o'clock. Mention SkullFace Records on Friday nights for drink specials. Survivors
is on a mission to have the best and safest karaoke bar in Lexington. We ask all our patrons to practice social distancing and please wear your mask. Temperature taken upon entry.
Survivors. 161 East Reynolds Road, Lexington, Kentucky.
SkullFace Records Radio presents A Moment of Release.
The overlord and the underdog both have to lack compassion as a survival mechanism. It's an instinct. You gotta eat like it's the last bite for a week. You gotta sweat like a hard rain. You gotta bleed like there's no pain. Like it's the last night, a cycle's peak. It's immortal, dead to fresh meat. To know there's no tomorrow without today. There's no outcome outside of this moment. If one could take a minute to look at it and hold it, a bird's eye view of the circles of cataclysm.
Welcome to Gravedigger Radio Podcast, broadcasting live from the afterlife.
Hey guys, Zach and Jason hang out here in Gravedigger Radio Studio. Jason, you've got a pretty cool story for us today about some old American history.
Well, I'd like to think so. I was thinking about bringing you all the curious case of Constantine Rafinesque. Actually, his real name is a bit fancier than that. Constantine Samuel Rafinesque Schmaltz.
Schmaltz? What kind of name is that?
German, apparently.
Oh, okay.
He was born in 1783 to a German mother and a French father in the old Ottoman Empire, which of course is now Turkey, somewhere near Constantinople, which of course is now Istanbul.
Great song about that. And I was actually doing a little bit of research on it as far as that time period, what was going on in the area. And the Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire had broken out into like massive war in that area anyway.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about why did Constantinople get the works and see if you could pick me up on that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's before my time, but that's still a popular song that everyone knows about.
It's one of the greatest songs ever written, in my opinion. But anyway, he was sort of a boy genius. Words that have been used to describe Constantine Rafinesque are polymath, polyglot, and autodidact.
Now, what are those? Like what?
I was going to ask you.
I had no idea. I read on there. And I was like, that sounds like a whole lot of things going on at one time.
Polyglot, I'd run across before. It's someone, poly is many. Glot refers to languages. So he's a person that was just kind of naturally skilled with languages. And I guess if you got a German mother, a French father born in, what is modern day Turkey, so he's probably got some Turkish and some Arabic going on. Maybe he just kind of, came into that, honestly. A polymath is a person who knows a lot of things about a lot of different subjects and can kind of weave them all together in academic studies and knowledge. So he's kind of, maybe we would say a Renaissance man, or he knows a lot of things about a lot of things. And then an autodidact is a person who can kind of self-learn. You put information in front of them and they just consume it, and they can learn kind of on their own in a vacuum almost, and take in a lot of information. So you put all those together, and yeah, I think boy genius is kind of a good way to describe him.
Well, especially in an era before Google. I mean, that's kind of big. Anyway, it had to be a pain in the ass at the time.
Yeah. So we don't know much about his early life, but he did eventually make his way to the United States, and especially in the area around Philadelphia, where he was employed by the Clifford Brothers Mercantile House. Now, that was his official job, but at the time, he was always doing science on the side. It's like his hobby, almost like podcasting. He would just do scientific experiments on the side, especially in the natural sciences. He was big about identifying different species of creatures and plant life. It's also about this time where he heard about the Lewis and Clark expeditions. You know, in 1803, the United States made the Louisiana Purchase, which is like a third of our country now. And so they were putting together the Lewis and Clark expedition, and he actually wanted to go as a scientist to record all the different sort of critters they would meet along the way. But for some reason, and I couldn't find out why, but Thomas Jefferson, who was president at the time, shot him down. He petitioned twice to join the expedition, but he wasn't allowed to go.
I mean, if you look at this guy, though, he kind of looks like a mixture between Ron Weasley and Marty Feldman from Young Frankenstein. I do picture him kind of showing up like, yes, I would like to go.
Yeah, well, you say that. Apparently, though, he was quite the ladies' man, though. He was involved with a couple women, maybe fathered numerous illegitimate children. I know that's not in the notes because I try to keep it clean and wholesome here on the Grave Digger Radio podcast.
He was poly something else, too.
Yeah, but he did find his way, I mean, up the social ladders between 1805 and 1815. Again, all the while, he's practicing science on the side, and he wrote voluminously. But he was in Sicily at this point, working as the secretary for the United States consul in Sicily. And again, practicing science the whole time and keeping a copious amount of notes and material, pamphlets, always writing about what he found. He came back to the United States around 1815. At this time, like I said, he already had quite an amount of work. He was known in academic circles as this great natural scientist. And after that stint, he returned to the United States in 1815. And by this time, he was already a well-known academic in the natural sciences. However, unfortunately, he was shipwrecked off of Long Island Sound, and a lot of his pamphlets and a lot of his writing, a lot of his research, his life's work, went down to Davy Jones' locker.
Man, I want it to be like Cthulhu or something, especially showing up this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how great would that have been for a story? You know, he's a science guy showing up. This is how some like H.P. Lovecraft shit right here. And, you know, he's sailing to the new world, and then suddenly Cthulhu.
Yeah. Well, as an aside, I also found out that he, his big thing was identifying species, animal, the flora and the fauna, and giving them scientific names. That was kind of his thing. Of course, he was gifted with languages anyway. So he's creating all these scientific languages for these new species he's discovering. Maybe around this time, he actually gave a name, Megophius monstrosus, to a sea serpent, a great, quote, great sea serpent that he encountered off the coast of Gloucester, Massachusetts. So I know that's right up your alley with the cryptids and everything there, Zacho.
Yeah, I actually, when I was doing research for this show, I didn't come across that, but I saw a picture of a sea monster, and I kind of just discounted it as just some drawing.
You can't go around discounting sea monsters, dude.
I know. There wasn't really anything to link to it. Like, was there any more information on this creature?
Not much. It was just kind of referred to as Massey, I guess, for Massachusetts. But that was his thing. He went around sticking scientific names on critters, and well, there's a great sea serpent. It needs a scientific name.
Well, and too, though, wasn't this guy? He was a contemporary of Darwin, anyway, wasn't he?
And honestly, he was a bit ahead of the game.
Yeah.
He was using the term evolution way ahead of Darwin. Darwin didn't publish, evolution of species until 1861.
And too, the big thing of it was for him to even say this, it was considered heretical,
right?
And other scientists completely discounted him. They eventually use like the term like raffing or something like that to say like his name was like a lazy way of going about science. And
yeah, we'll get into that more later, because once he makes his way to us here in Kentucky, he runs into a lot of trouble with his scientific methods, because again, he's just way ahead of the game and using things that are in their scientific infancy. He was quite the pioneer. Anyway, now we're up to about 1818, and he makes his way down here to Henderson, Kentucky, to just hang out with and meet the great John James Audubon. I'm sure our listeners have heard of that name. Of course, John Audubon was the guy who went around the country, another natural scientist, cataloging the creatures, native to the United States, making his great artistic renditions. And I think he's really famous, especially for birds and avian species. So they obviously had a lot to talk about. And there's a funny story coming from that time when he was staying with Audubon, where Audubon was awakened in the middle of the night to quite the ruckus. And so he goes into Rafinesque's room and throws the door open, and he sees Raff, and his room is apparently swarmed with a bunch of bats. And Rafinesque grabs his favorite violin and is using this to kind of swat the bats and take them on. You can imagine that scene.
Like, this is something straight out of like a 1950s kind of B movie, in a sense, where you're running around. Like, I can only imagine the sound from there. And I guess, construction was different then, but I wonder how the bats got into the room.
I don't know. Maybe they were attracted. If this guy was, I think he probably had like obsessive compulsive disorder. Like he could not do anything but study and research 24/7. And maybe he was up into the wee hours of night, had his candles going, and the moths were attracted to the light, and the bats were preying on the moths, and they just came on in. And I don't know.
What's said in the shipwreck, he lost like 60,000 specimens that he had brought over to study. And
I wouldn't doubt it. He was always packing around all these specimens. So now we come to the part that's kind of local to us. New listeners maybe just uncovering that we're located here in the Lexington, Kentucky area. And from 1819 to 1826, he becomes a full professor at the prestigious, especially at the time, Transylvania University in Lexington, Kentucky.
All right, you're telling me this guy teaches at Transylvania, and he's got a swarm of bats around. This motherfucker's Dracula. All right. I mean, he kind of looks like him, too.
You've been reading ahead in my notes.
Yeah.
Yes, noble listener, Transylvania University is a real place. It's a rather small private college right here in Lexington. I mean, it's 2 blocks off of Main Street in Lexington, Kentucky. I think it's home to about 1,500 students. It's named Transylvania because it was the first college west of the Allegheny Mountains back when Kentucky was the western frontier of the United States. Founded in 1780 when Kentucky was still a part of Virginia. Thomas Jefferson, was the governor of Virginia then, and he made the land grant and pushed the resolution through the Virginia Assembly to establish the first university in the West. Now Kentucky nowadays, we don't think we're not West. At the time we were. We were the 15th state, founded in 1792, admitted to the Union. So we're pretty early doors, and we're one of the first steps west as far as the colonies are concerned. The name Transylvania simply means, beyond the woods, across the woods. So that's why I was given that name. Do you want to go into the fun fact here? Yeah, I thought you would really appreciate this.
It's kind of adorable, actually. I do kind of love it. So in 1987, the university sued Hallmark Cards.
The greeting card company.
Yeah. Or the movie. I mean, is Hallmark Cards and the movie company?
Well, they got their own like a little TV channel now and everything, network and everything. And it's all this horrible, like over dramatic, melodramatic, like drivel.
There are people that like fall over and froth the mouth for those movies, man. You're gonna have torches and pitchforks showing up at your house when this airs.
It was just a misunderstanding.
Well, they issued a cease and desist. Transylvania issued a cease and desist to Hallmark Cards. So the company, Hallmark, they produced a bunch of novelty t-shirts marketing Transylvania University, having no idea that it was a real thing. The shirts had the motto on them that we go for the throat and E pluribus bitum. Which is really cute. But I am kind of shocked that they didn't realize that Transylvania was a real thing, especially at that time.
Well, this was 1987, so I guess they couldn't do a simple Google search like, oh, by the way, did anybody check to see if this actually exists? So, yeah, they made a lot of money, and since their independent retailers, the overall company couldn't actually prohibit them from go ahead and selling the shirts that they had purchased and received. So a lot of these went out to market. They sold out immediately here in Lexington.
Oh, I'm sure people probably loved it.
Transy was pissed.
I'm really shocked that Transy hasn't got onto the whole vampire thing to market.
Stay tuned, noble listener.
Oh.
Anyway, back to Rafinesque. He became professor at Transy. We call it Transy for short here locally, in botany and the natural sciences, natural philosophy. Makes him sound like some kind of druid to me.
I know. I kind of like it.
Yeah. And this was like the height of his career. During this time, he was extremely prolific. Not that he wasn't already, but he really hit his stride during his time. And by the end of his career, he had cataloged and given official scientific names to over 2,700 species of animals and around 6,700 species of plants. And a lot of these are still in use today. No shit.
So he hangs out in ruins. He's at Transylvania.
Yep.
To do that much work, he doesn't sleep.
Nope.
He's Dracula.
Skips class a lot because they're him.
I can't say that he's not Dracula. There's no proof he isn't.
And he was very famous for the many species of bats that he gave scientific names. And if anybody, again, knows anything about Kentucky, we are the cave capital of the planet. So a lot of bats hanging around. Also, while at Transy, he became obsessed with the ruins of the local prehistoric Indian mounds. And I'm talking old, not like Cherokee and Shawnee from like a couple hundred years ago. We're talking prehistoric cultures like the Adena and the Hopewell cultures. You're from a little north of here, Zach, so you probably heard the word Hopewell thrown around a lot.
Oh, yeah. And if we learned anything from last episode, leave the Indian burial mounds alone.
Yeah, I'm thinking this may become a trend in the podcast. While he was living in Lexington, he mapped out 148 recognized Indian sites most of them in Kentucky and very close to Lexington. He was one of the first researchers on the site of the Russell Cave, again, just north of the city, which is alleged to be a part of a vast cave network that extends underneath the city itself. He noted that most of these were ancient burial sites. Other rumors have spoken that large prehistoric skeletons have been found underneath the city, some measuring tall as 7 or 8 feet and sporting red hair.
They must have been ancestors of mine.
Could be, but we're talking like ancient times. Not a lot of red-haired folks cruising around middle America thousands of years ago.
No, not at that time.
What's up with that?
I know it's kind of cool. I mean, wasn't there like a bunch of catacombs beneath Lexington or something?
Apparently so, yeah. Like when the city was founded and a lot of the major construction started downtown, they started finding these things, weirding people out. There's even a river system underneath the city, Town Branch.
Oh, I had no idea.
Runs right underneath Lexington. Construction project now that's been funded to bring it back to the surface and establish like a San Antonio kind of like river walk.
That would be super cool.
Yeah.
I could definitely dig
The homeless would love it.
Out there just playing in the water.
Pretty much. Another major academic credit of his is the discovery, preservation, and interpretation translation of the Wallam Olam, which is the epic history of the Delaware Indians. As we mentioned before, he was also a very early proponent of the concept of evolution. About that same time, Darwin was doing his initial research, coming up with the theory of evolution as he was noticing how species changed. And Rafinesque was already using that term openly.
I like that you pronounce it evolution instead of evolution. That's
the theme of this episode is fancy.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be.
Also, however, his time at Transylvania University was a bit controversial. Of course, being this kind of bizarre genius, so he was kind of an outsider, kind of an oddball, and he got the reputation for kind of practicing a little bit of laziness. Many of the new species that he coined the new scientific names for were simple, like small variations from existing species that we already knew about. This is called splitting. He was known as a splitter. So, maybe this species of bluegill has one additional anal fin or something, and so he would put that down.
You immediately had to go to butt stuff, didn't you?
Yeah. I did.
Okay.
I thought they'd get a rise out of you. So his Wallam Odom was apparently based on these wooden tablets that he had possession of and then lost. Kind of after he published all this work and interpreted all these things and translated, into English. So there's no way that anybody could ever confirm this stuff. People think that maybe he was either trying to create a hoax or he was the victim of a hoax himself and had brought this information forward in good faith, but just kind of got snookered into it. It's still kind of divided. I mean, there are people that are in his camp and there are people that saying it doesn't quite add up. Oh, there's a good scandal conserving. Yeah,
intrigue,
always have a good scandal, right? Like I said, his tenure at Transylvania University was 1819 to 1826. We had a good 7 years before he was eventually fired by the university president, one Mr. Horace Hawley. Zach, you'll enjoy.
Uh-huh.
I mentioned before he was a bit of a ladies' man. Rumor was that he was involved with Hawley's wife.
Right there on the desk, man.
Yeah, maybe so. Again, Dracula was always kind of a seductive character. He could do that whole eye thing, raise one eyebrow and give you the look and your clothes just fall off.
See, like I said, looking at the guy's picture, when you say the eyeball thing, I'm still thinking Igor.
I'm thinking Bela Lugosi, the one cocked eyeball and the fingers out.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of awesome. All right, Jason. I mean, this is great. It's a great history lesson and everything, and it's totally cool that he was, banging the university president's wife. That's kind of awesome. Allegedly. But, all right, this is a horror podcast, man. What's all this got to do with the ooky spooky and paranormal?
Well, for whatever reason, he may have just been fired because he never showed up to class, was always off doing his research. And then he was an oddball and he didn't get along with his other colleagues at Transy. So for whatever reason, he was let go. And he wasn't too happy about that. So upon his dismissal from the university, Raff claims to have placed a curse upon President Hawley and the college itself. Soon after, within years, Hawley passed away and the largest college building caught fire.
Ooh. Well, and the other thing, too, was that so after a few years, Hawley was actually fired as well. Oh. And then he went down to Louisiana, kind of, I guess, in disgrace or whatever. And he died of yellow fever.
Oh, that was a big problem, yeah.
Yes. Could it be a curse? Maybe.
After he was let go, Rafinesque returned to Philadelphia and continued studying throughout his life and producing, research and pamphlets and everything until his death in 1840. Of course, this experience kind of broke him, though. I mean, he died a pauper. He had this great academic record and everything. A lot of it we still use today. I mean, it's kind of gray, and there's a lot of gray. I mean, he wasn't a total fraud. Maybe he got in some stuff that was sketchy science, but also he did produce a lot of legit work. So he can't be dismissed. And it's honestly kind of an overlooking of his record to not see him as a more famous scientist.
Well, and some things about his death. He actually died of stomach cancer, and it's believed that he died of stomach cancer because he was eating this plant that he had discovered called the angel hair fern. And he thought that it was a treatment for tuberculosis, and he believed that he had tuberculosis. So I guess he was just down in these angel hair ferns, and then he eventually kind of killed himself by doing that.
Hey, I've cured tuberculosis, but giving myself stomach cancer.
And now I'm going to die anyway.
So there's honestly, I don't know if it's because of the curse or because the university itself wants to write itself in the annals of history, as far as Rafinesque is concerned. But in 1924, and this is 84 years after the poor guy's death, quote, friends of Transy University went up to Philadelphia, found his grave, dug it up, and brought his bones back to Lexington, Kentucky, and entombed them in like the largest building on campus now, affectionately known as Old Morrison. And every year, the university holds events on campus during the week leading up to Halloween, known as RAF Week. Some of the festivities include Pumpkin Mania. I go to it every year. I don't live far.
It's super cool.
Yeah, I live like 5 blocks from this place. And basically, anybody in town can show up with a carved jack-o'-lantern, or you can just show up and you can carve one yourself. A lot of the local breweries have gotten in on it. You can come down to West Six or Blue Stallion, and they'll have pumpkins for free. You can carve them up. And they take them all up to the steps of Old Morrison, and it has this huge, like, lead-up series of steps. They lay them all out, and they light them all up the week before Halloween, and it's hundreds of pumpkins all lit up at once. You can do whatever you want.
We should have a Gravedigger Radio pumpkin to put out there.
Oh,
that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, maybe SkullFace Radios, too. We could use their logo, carve that.
I think so.
It's a big attraction. I mean, thousands of people show up every year to stand in front of Old Morrison and check out these jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, as super cool as the idea of having his bones and everything are there, there is, to a degree, a certain amount of skepticism surrounding that.
True.
At the time, I guess maybe some of the cemeteries in Philadelphia were so packed, they would bury some people 6 deep, like they would just stack them.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
And so there's some conjecture that it's actually a woman from Philadelphia that they snatched up her bones and brought them to. But that's just one theory. I personally like the idea that they actually returned his bones back to Transylvania to break the curse.
They were trying to do right by him, 84 years later. And they've done a lot of things since then to try to reclaim his legacy. I mean, he was, for his time, he really was. Other things that go on during RAF Week, the willing voluntary students can enter a raffle, and I think they choose 4. What do you win if you come up in the raffle?
Well, for the great prize of winning the raffle during RAF Week, you get the opportunity to stay Halloween night in Raf's tomb.
Yes.
Come on down.
And if you go to Pumpkin Mania and you're facing Old Morrison, the left casement on the side of the stairs leading up where all the pumpkins are is the tomb. You're right there.
You got to go out and actually check that out.
I need to sneak in, though, act like I'm supposed to be there.
See if we can record an episode in the tomb.
But, I mean, the university promotes this. They've got a YouTube video that shows, like, 4 female students, like, oh, hey, they're in their, like, jammies, and they're hanging out on this dude's tomb. I mean, literally, like, sitting on top of the tomb.
Are they just, like, hanging out, having, like, a sexy pillow fight or some kind of co-ed bullshit?
I don't know what went on when the cameras were shut off, but they're happy to be there. Recently, also in 2018, the university adopted a new mascot, the long-eared Rafinesque bat, as the official mascot of the Transylvania University.
I mean, it only makes sense. They really got to capitalize on this Dracula thing.
He appears on all their official merchandising. If you drive by the university, their flags. They've got a version of the flag which has a little Rafinesque bat on it.
See, now I picture, what was it, the bat from Anastasia, the animated movie. That I want that to be their mascot now.
Yeah. Now their official name for the sports teams are the Pioneers, but the logo and everything is the long-eared Rafinesque bat, which is still a species of bat that's recognized scientifically. They installed a new plaque in 2019. This was less than a year ago, September, I think. A plaque that reads, "Honor to whom honor is overdue," on the campus. And this is a repetition of the same slogan that is chiseled into the cover stone for his tomb there. So they're trying to make amends with the old guy and maybe break the curse.
I know we're supposed to be a horror podcast and it's supposed to be all about thing's evil and spooky, but I just looked up the long-eared Raffinus back, and that thing is cute as fuck.
Oh, is it?
Like, I kind of love it.
Oh my God, it's got huge ears,
Yeah, I
like
know.
25% of its body.
I mean, I know this guy's a great thinker and a great mind, but he was pretty on the nose with this bat. Like, no points for creativity, but like, yep, that bat's got long ears. What are we going to call it? Well, my name's Raffinus.
Well, I found it.
That thing's got long ears. Well, that's a Raffinus long-eared bat.
Absolutely. And it's now the mascot of Transylvania University, affectionately nicknamed Raph. So there you have it, Zach, the entire history of Constantine Samuel Raffinesque Schmaltz.
I like it. I think it's a fun story. I think it's something, cool to have a local legend like that.
Yeah.
I think, I'd be curious to see what other local legends people don't know about. And if in your area that, if you're listening from and you have a cool local legend, send that to us. We'd be more than happy to check it out and maybe have it on the show.
We will be there.
Well, you may be there. I've got shit to do. But I'll be there in spirit.
Oh, spirit.
Ooh. Well, guys, thank you for joining us for another